What up, though? Jay the Gentleman here. We want to know who you are as you're talking to us in the comments. So that we can see your name, visit StreamYard.com/Facebook to grant access. That's StreamYard.com/Facebook. Do it. Do it now. What up, though? The conversation stay lit on Dear Black Gay Men podcast. Hookup, entanglement, situation, relationship, everything from dushing to dating.
A top verb, but I am not a top noun. I am a guru at first dates.
It's new every Wednesday. Subscribe now.
What up, though, everybody? What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI, the Gentleman on IG and Facebook. This conversation has to be the one that got the most comments in a long time. I thought it was because of the topic, but I was deeply misguided. My guest tonight is the host of the Konversation with Kaleaf. It's a self-help podcast focused on helping us look, feel, and be our best selves. Please welcome Kaleaf to the show. Kaleaf, are you there?
Hi, I am.
Hey, Kaleaf. How are you?
I am doing my best.
So, first, I see that your pronouns are they, them.
Yes.
I have so many questions just off that already, because, like, when you change your pronoun, when your pronouns are they, them, does that mean that you are a boy? Like, what is your gender expression for you specifically?
I am an experience. I'm sorry. That's what a little kid the other day asked me, "Are you a boy or a girl?" I was like, "Darling, I'm an experience." But I'm human. You know, I'm human.
Okay.
That's all.
So when I posted this to the IG story on Dear Black Gay Men, and I said, "Oh, we're going live on Tuesday. This is my guest." I have never, ever gotten so many comments about who is that fine ass boy that you about to talk to.
Oh, how you doing?
Never have I ever now I should have corrected them and be like, that human, but still, never have I ever gotten so many comments about you being delicious.
I get it from my mama and my daddy, you know.
Do you, is that your reception a lot?
Yes. I know I'm blessed and highly favored. And flavored. But a lot of people you know, I get a lot of attention, whether I want it or don't want it. It is what it is. But I don't mind being
Where do you think
desired.
that attention comes from? Like, what do you think? Is it just because you fine, or is it because of other things? Do you think?
I think in addition to, you know, the privileges I, you know, walk around in this world with, you know, whether that be light skin privilege or having a couple of Eurocentric features, the hair, it's, I mean, it just comes with the territory. But I also think a lot of people are attracted to my light. And I had to learn that just because you have a lot of people who are attracted to your light and it's a positive thing doesn't mean like some people are going to like well, it means sometimes some people are going to just not like you because of the amount of light that you exude, and you just got to keep shining like a star.
Do you do you think that or do you ever get fetishized
Of
for
course.
all of the things that you just named?
Of course. Of
Is that a
course. Like,
problem?
I mean, fetishizing anybody is a problem, I think. When it comes to, of course, I'm slender, I'm lighter, I I mean, there's just a lot of things that people like. People always want to grab my hair. I'm like, please don't. I'm like, amongst all the
Really?
things. Yeah, I
In
don't know.
2023, the year of Cicely Tyson, people still coming to grab your hair?
Like, I'm like, is that all? I'm like, stop, ow, ow, ow. That shit hurts. I'm sorry, it
Really?
hurts.
Of course you can. This is a
Oh
safe
yeah,
space.
hallelujah.
People still walking up to you trying to grab your hair.
People grab my hair. Though I would say, although you didn't directly ask, the worst thing that has happened to me has been when I disclosed to somebody that I was non-binary and they reached for my. I said
That has happened?
yes. One time though, but I don't want people to be like, oh wow, that happened to
Was
you. No, it
was this
happened one
somewhat
time.
was this somewhat some LGBT person, or is this a straight person?
Um, the alphabet person. But you know,
Really?
honestly, like I feel like I have to explain this a lot. But like, just because we're in the LGBTQIA plus community, does not
Uh-huh.
mean we're even in proximity to each other all the time or in community with each other all the time. Like, there's plenty of gay men who have no clue what it means to be non-binary, who have no clue what it means to, you know, exist outside of the gender you were assigned at birth. And they ask you, so if you're not a boy, you're a girl, da, 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 and then it gets into, you know, when it comes to dating and different things. But I'll save a little of that.
Well, I am one of those people. I have no clue because I don't know what it feels like to identify as anything other than what I was assigned at birth. I am a man. I am comfortable in my manhood, however feminine that may be at times. I don't even have an awareness around what it would feel like to have an inclination of being anything else. So where did that start for you? How did you, because I would imagine you, when you were a little person, identified with the gender that you were assigned, and then something changed, or is that an incorrect assumption?
That is very correct. I don't think when I was little the term non-binary existed. I know for a fact it did not exist. Had I heard of it? No. Had I heard of anything outside of anything? No. Just a little background on me. I grew up in a really Christian environment, healthy Christian environment, I'll add, because a lot
Okay.
of people got a lot of trauma surrounding that. I went to Christian school. I went to a Baptist church, and we were, you know, that was just my life. 7 days, 5 days a week, I'm in Christian school, and I have Bible classes and, you know, whatnot. And then, yeah, that was my life. So it really wasn't a subject or a matter of anything. It was always, you know, it was against the Bible and this, that, and the third. But, you know, I've been more enlightened since then. But
Did you get
yeah,
a
I
lot
had
of
to.
little boys don't do or little boys do and all of
Of
that?
course. But you know, one of my favorite joy moments, because like I feel like a lot of times we talk about our trauma, but we forget to talk about our joy moments. So when I was a little kid, my grandfather walked in the room and my sister and I were playing with our toys. And, you know, being a little gay Black boy in Chicago, I was just trying to be fab, and my sister was my safe space for like my entire life. So I had on, you know, a little blanket dress, you know how we like to do it. And he walked in and he was like, okay, Kaleaf, and walked out. And that was it. He didn't make it a trauma moment. He didn't do it. He was just like, all right, okay, I see you. What now?
That is a blessing.
Right? They didn't try to sexualize
that is an absolute blessing. I do not have the same story, but that is a blessing. When you started this level of becoming more enlightened or self-discovery, what was the first feeling, idea toward non-binary that you could remember?
Well, it started, if I'm being honest, I talk about this in my podcast, episode 2 or 3 or something, in episode 1 of season 3. But it started in therapy. I happen to have a therapist who is non-binary, was non-binary. Well, the therapist is still non-binary. They're just not my therapist anymore. Okay. You know, you don't stick with the same therapist for the rest of your life, but you know, whatnot would happen. But they expressed to me that they were non-binary, and that after they had a baby, they just felt like they didn't want to be defined by their ability to, you know, hold a child and be a mother and all of those things. They wanted to be more expansive. And we just, you know, through, you know, a lot of therapy, we just came up in conversation. We talked about it a lot. And I was like, you know, I kind of feel like that myself. Like, I've never felt like I've wanted to be a guy, but like also like not completely a girl. I'm always more like, you know, geared towards the feminine, just because it's always been my place of not even safety, my place of strength. I grew up around 3 Black women, my sister, 2 of my sisters, and my mother, and my grandmother, so 4. And they always were just the epitome of like, dare I say badassery? Is that a word? They just were like the baddest. Yes. I mean, not bitch. Okay, I'm not calling my grandmother B, but you know, they were like the baddest.
We understand the context.
Right? They're like, when I say my mother is like super woman, like, and I know that gets pushed on a lot of, but my mom really is like, shout out to her, but she's really like that girl. And she's been that girl. Like, she was the PTA president. She was on the board of my school. She too, you know, has her own businesses in addition to working in school, a lot of things. And she's always that girl. So I always saw strength in being feminine and womanhood because of the way I observed my mother and my sisters.
But does that mean that you are, because you identify, your pronouns are they, them. So does that mean that you are neither man nor woman, or you are both man and woman? Neither or, I would say. Meaning, I just exist. I don't think too hard about, is this too feminine or is this too masculine? I am a little bit uncomfortable though in my masculinity. I do have it, like it's there. I can't act like my voice isn't deep. Like, as feminine and flamboyant as I try to be and am, I got a deep voice. That's just, it is what it is. Like, type of thing. Mm-hmm. But I, in addition to those things, I just embrace it all without judging it, type of thing. Okay. And I just let it be what it is, if that makes sense. Okay. I of course, I'm going to come back to that, but let's take a break. We'll be right back. Dear Black Gay Men Live is brought to you in part by
That's one of the reasons why I love her so much, because we can connect on so many levels like that.
Through her pictures, I was like, this girl is beautiful. I was like, good job.
Hit the notification bell because we're going live.
Like, that's the least of my worries. The size.
Oh, I think relationships are becoming more complex.
Tuesday and Thursday every week.
Welcome to Dear Black Gay Men Live
at 9 p.m. Eastern. What up, though? Jay the Gentleman here. We want to know who you are as you're talking to us in the comments. So that we can see your name, visit StreamYard.com/Facebook to grant access. That's StreamYard.com/Facebook. Do it. Do it now.
Every week, we go live Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Dear Black Gay Men Facebook page and Dear Black Gay Men Insiders. So I can see how many people are rocking with us. This week, I would like everybody, give me a thumbs up, like this video on Facebook, wherever you're watching. If you're seeing this on the YouTube channel, then give it a thumbs up. Like us on Facebook at Dear Black Gay Men, thumbs up on YouTube. But now, let's get back into the show. Kaleaf. So you have a deep voice, but you have long hair. Are you tall? How tall are you?
I am 5'11".
Tall. Taller than me. I'm short and squatty. But so what do people assume about you when it comes to how you express, how you identify, how you just navigate the world when you're dealing with or interacting with LGBT culture? What are some of the assumptions that you see people making about you?
I would say, if they haven't heard me speak, some people used to say that they felt like maybe I could be stuck up or something, or bougie. And I may be a little bougie, but I grew up, I just didn't grow up in the hood, which is it's just my truth. But I never have been like, oh, I'm better than somebody because of I grew up. It's just never been like a big thing to me. But certain things, yes, I won't know certain songs or certain, things, not because of that, but also I grew up, like I said earlier, in a Christian environment. So what other people may call a classic is new to me, type of thing. But
have you seen The Color Purple?
Of course.
Okay. Just making sure.
I'm black.
just making sure. I mean, I think that is like quintessential black cinema. So if you ain't seen The Color Purple, have you ever seen Baps?
I've seen The Color Purple. I've seen.
What about Baps? Have you seen Baps?
I don't like Baps.
But have you seen it though?
I wasn't able to get through it.
Okay. But if I said Baps, you would know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Little girl, the girl from Brandy Cinderella.
The sister.
Halle Berry, yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, got it. Got it. So because you lean into femininity, do people assume you're a bottom?
Always. Even on my little, account, actually. Everybody always assumes that, which is so irritating. I grew up thinking I was I hope my mom isn't watching. If my mom, if you're watching, please turn it off. Turn it off. But
I'm almost certain she's not watching, but go ahead.
She's on Facebook. So, turn it off, Mom. So, growing up watching, adult content.
Okay.
I always thought I would be like this power bottom. And then I grew up and I grew out and it just never gave I have tried it. Yes. I tried it and I know it is not my cup of tea. I don't like it. It's not for me. But to each their own. But unfortunately.
Wait. So are you saying the power part of that statement is not your cup of tea, or the bottom statement is not your cup of tea?
All three of them.
Really?
Unfortunately.
That is so interesting to me.
Unfortunately. But you would be surprised because it'll be the guys who are super hard or whatnot, which isn't even my type. But those will be the guys who will want me to, put my thing down, flip it and reverse it. And I don't got no problem with it, but it's just not my, I'm more femme for femme. I'm more of a lipstick lesbian. We can be fab together type of thing. But, with the gays, because unfortunately I am a person who's androsexual, meaning I like people who, would present as a man or even the studs do it for me. Like, not Cleo and Set It Off, but somebody with that energy, because she wasn't. I like
Okay.
the stud, but yeah. Anytime I see anything that's like that, I'm drawn to it. So I don't care what you got going on, what body parts you don't have, how big, how small. I'm with it.
I have never heard the term androsexual. So if I'm hearing you right, you're attracted to like the mashup of masculine and feminine expression. Like studs would be a good example for you.
Because
have you ever dated someone trans?
Huh?
Have you ever dated someone trans?
I have. Well, I have been on, like dates, but have I been in a relationship with somebody who's trans? No. Am I like opposed? Heck no. I would actually prefer, because trans men, I swear to Bob Marley, they are always finer than cis men. I'm sorry. I just gotta call a spade a spade. They always are finer than cis men.
I have said that.
They always got it on. And as somebody who doesn't care about genitalia or private, like, I don't care how big or how small, like, I don't care what it's giving. I'm more of a demisexual in that area. Like, I just care about, a connection. If I got a connection with you, we can connect. How you doing?
I had an interview with someone who was trans, and mind you, he, to me, was so fine. Engaged to be married, but fine nonetheless. And I told him that trans people, and what I'm coming to realize is really non-binary people, in my experience, are this best of both worlds kind of expression. Whereas someone who is non-binary, in my experience, can take from masculine energy and feminine energy, the things that are really authentic to them, and then, swirl it around and express it in a way that isn't, some social cookie cutter. And I think that is really amazing. And to me, that's probably the thing that turns me on most, just in general.
I would say there's no such thing as a, typical non-binary person, or I know, I'm sorry. I know certain people who are non-binary, and they give complete, like, you would just think it was a dude type thing. Mm-hmm. I'm part of the world of ballroom. So if you're familiar with the term realness with a twist, I don't get realness with a twist. I don't got a butch bone in my body. What? Maybe
really?
One. That's about it.
I think you have more than you give yourself credit for.
Not that, like, it's just not my forte. Like, it's not my go-to.
Sure. But I think but to that end, like, feminine energy is not my go-to. I am a dude, but I acknowledge that there's a whole bunch of femme swishing around in here. It's just, it doesn't bubble up to the surface initially. Would you say the reverse is true for you? Trans men are very handsome. Thank you, David.
That part. I would say it changes, but it's more of it depends on the day. Like today, no shade. Okay. I went to Target today, and this girl, I guess she didn't clock that I was, one of the alphabets. And she was looking at me like she was trying to, jump on it, let's do it, ride in my yes. Very much so like that. And it just made me laugh, because I was just like, she don't know. Like, girl. No, but then I was like, then I started thinking, I was like, she was cute now. She was cute. I was like, I might be bisexual. Wow. But I don't know about that. That's a little too much for me, I think. What was I talking about?
I asked if, like, I feel as if I'm masculine presenting, but I have femme in me, definitely. Is the reverse true for you?
Just based off the way I was kind of almost forced into supposed to be like a boy. Like, I grew up with my parents divorced when I was 2. And my father wasn't heavily involved in my life at that time. So my mother, it was, a Black mom's job to make sure her son grew up to be like regular. And that was a difficult point for us until it wasn't. I mean, it still is to this day, but not to the same degree. She was saying, you have to walk like this, you can't talk like this. And before puberty, child, when I tell you I sound like Mariah Carey or something, like when I tell you the voice dropped, like it dropped. I was like, oh my gosh. And just for people who be like, whoever heard that, because in my mind, I'm like, somebody heard that, like, see, they be using fake voices. No, baby, I'm a singer, so I have range, so I can go up and down, but that's not my natural to be all the way down there and like in that part of the piano. That's not my ministry.
I just knew you were gonna pluck a key. I think that's a good place to take a break. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
No. Oh, no, I can't. No hugs. My work ethic is above yours. You cannot fucking sit with me. Well, apparently you weren't on mute when Brandon came at you in that group chat, so apparently you did see it. How old are you? Why are you yelling? How old are you? Why are you yelling?
In a real tough, you know what I'm saying, discussion right now. But hey, what's a show without drama, huh?
He's at work and he don't want to deal with y'all bullshit. Exactly what he said to me.
You've been called out on that shit before. You be contradicting yourself. My thing is just take ownership of the shit that you do.
You get slapped, and you get slapped. You get slapped in front of him too, though. You get slapped for him too, though. You get slapped for him too, though, nigga.
Bitch. I want you to. I'm gonna knock you out. You better not swing. Bitch, stop playing on me, ho. Bitch, cause you doing that. You know you fucking wrong. You know I got attitude. Don't touch me. You gotta fuck you. Stupid ass.
Get in the conversation.
This comment says, I did a good job. It's time for a congratulatory ejaculation session.
Chat live on the show and get exclusive content.
The bottoms are going to eat me up for this in the chat.
Join the Dear Black Gay Men Insiders group on Facebook.
Okay, I want to talk to y'all in the comments. Y'all do know, everybody who's listening, y'all do know Dear Black Gay Men Live is different than the podcast, because I've been getting them DMs a lot. So if you listen to the podcast, for those who are watching live, type podcast in the comments. And just so we're all clear, I have a podcast every Wednesday that you can listen to and stream it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Then this show goes live on our YouTube channel on Thursdays. I treat this as if y'all are the studio audience, my co-hosts, because y'all keep me asking good questions. You keep the conversation going. Yeah, I get to see that y'all are like tracking with me and it's resonating. The show is usually about 30 minutes on YouTube, and then the podcast is like 10 or 15. I want it to be something that you get encouraged by on your way to work or the gym or the Bulldogs on Thursday nights, wherever you're going. It really is our weekly reminder of how dope it is to be Black gay men who love Black gay men. If you haven't listened to Dear Black Gay Men podcast, you can search Dear Black Gay Men on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, let's get back into the show. Kaleaf, are you dating?
Of course.
Like, are you dating someone specific?
No.
Okay. You're dating around?
You said what?
You're dating around?
Oh, I thought you said, do I get around? I was like, what?
I mean, if you said you did, I would not judge you, but that was not the question, though.
Okay.
How does your expression play into your dating experience?
Men are trash. I just have to say that. And sometimes you don't know trash, right? Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Like, if I didn't find men attractive, would I date them? No. Because majority of them. Because it's just so frustrating. The amount of things that, cis women go through that, we as queer people go through as well. And the same things they complain about might be the same thing I'm complaining about. He don't listen, or he got this weird thing about him now. He don't want to go to therapy, and like the same weird things you deal with cishet Black men is the same thing I deal with queer Black men, and sometimes it's worse. No shade.
Give me an example. Help me understand. Because you might be talking about me. It might be my opportunity to grow.
I can't pinpoint a moment right now, if I'm being honest. But the amount of transphobia that you see within like not queer community, the gays, the butch queens, the boys. Sometimes it can be daunting and overwhelming because they think we have the same experience and struggle as trans people or as, queer people. I don't specifically get into the are you trans or are you not trans, especially because a lot of, trans women and a lot of trans men feel a way about people who aren't visibly trans or who have not done a physical or surgical anything. In addition to me feeling the same way, like the struggle is not the same. I can walk down the street and I have every privilege that a cis man goes through. I understand that. My privileges my lack of privilege is not the same as that of a trans woman, if that makes sense.
Yes, but it does make a lot of sense.
Do that little battle of, oh, I'm trans and I'm just as trans as you. I'm like, baby, you're under the umbrella, but baby, you don't get wet. The rest of the trans community gets wet, but baby, you don't get wet. If somebody were to do something to harm you most of the time, I would say most of the time because there are, different instances. But if somebody were to do something to harm you in a dating scenario, and you are somebody who has not changed anything and you present to people the way that they want you, they see this and they want that. And they don't get no, oh, I was shocked or I was surprised. 9 times out of 10, if somebody were to do something to hurt them, it's not the same as, I'm not sure of her name, but the lady who was just, killed here in Atlanta, it's not the same type thing. And 9 times out of 10, I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous, but men just have a way of throwing away Black trans women without a care in the world. So I would say, and I always say, my struggle is not that struggle. My struggle is the same struggle that you as a gay man go through most of the time. The only thing I have an issue and struggle with is, the pronoun thing. Which after you get past the pronouns, it's really not hard. I like to be treated like a princess because, I'm cute. He's, whatnot. Okay. Other than that, though, I have a lot of privilege.
So then to that end, if you like to be treated like a princess, do you prefer masculine men?
No.
You said you like femme for femme. So so the better question is, do you also treat your potential partner as a princess?
No. I would say the guys that typically do it for me is what we call in the ballroom as realness with a twist. I love a good twister. But I also love a guy with nails and with, lipstick and, I like men. I'm an androsexual, not a type of sexual, if that makes sense. So I just like people for who they are, type of thing. Like, I don't like when people force it. I don't like when people try to be like, super hard. I don't mess with DL men because who? Not me. I'm like, no, all tea, no shade. I know I'm pretty. I get it from my mom and my daddy. I'm way too cute for that.
Okay.
No tea, no shade.
And so when, assuming that you are dating someone who is pretty like you, better question, because I was going to go a different direction. Like, what's your love language?
A few. I'm real handsy, touchy. I like all the. I don't know. I feel like the people in the comments are like trying to like see like probably like, what is the thing? I like to experience things, and I have deal breakers, and I have deal makers, but I would say I prefer maybe to keep that for a bit.
Okay. So, if you were dating someone, are you the big spoon or the little spoon?
Depends on the night. I can't do the same thing on like that's boring. Like sometimes, yeah, I want to be the big spoon. Sometimes, yeah, I want to be the little spoon. I think people have looked at, uh, gender and sexuality and forget that they're not the same. So just because I'm non-binary doesn't mean I don't enjoy things that a man would enjoy or things that a woman would enjoy. I like what I like. Like I'm poly, very much so. I like have a community of people who love me, and some of those people may be my friends, and we just are platonic friends. But I'm very much so firm in it takes a village to raise a child. So why abandon that village once you're an adult?
The reason I ask is because I do think, while I don't think that there are gendered roles in relationships, I do think there are some mainstays that people like. For instance, whatever I present, I am definitely a little spoon more than a big one because I just like the way it feels. But I also am a, physical touch, words of affirmation kind of person. And I'm just curious because I too like feminine boys. But usually when I'm dating a feminine boy, they're expecting me to play a socially understood male role. And that's where it gets fucked up to me. So I'm like, if you're femme for femme, are there some sensibilities that still come up in your relationship where you come across as one role or another, or is it everything a mixed bag and it's situation specific?
I would say it's very, specific to the individual. I'm going to be who I am no matter what. But when it comes to, those cis heteronormative views that we typically tend to push on people, like who's the boy, who's the girl, who's the top, who's the bottom, like there's plenty of women who are married who peg their husbands.
Well, no, I'm not thinking. I wouldn't go as far as who's the man or who's the woman, but I'm like, if we cuddling in the bed, someone, regardless of how we identify or express, somebody is the big spoon and someone is the little one.
It just depends on the night and what I feel like doing.
So when you're dating someone consistently, how do you develop norms that the other person can that you can evolve into, or is every day a new challenge for you?
I would say anything that's not growing is dead, of course. And when you get stuck in certain routines, it kind of can become boring for me. So I'll say I statements. I feel like a routine, yes, that happens. However, there has to be some spontaneity to it. There cannot just be, you always do this and I always do that. And it just gets like, the only thing I always do is breathe. And as long as I'm breathing, I'm always going to be open to a new experience, a new joy moment or whatnot, or what have you. But I never have, when I say I've never even thought about like, oh, am I the big spoon or the little spoon? Because, okay. I like, okay, I'm probably going to go there. Yes.
Go ahead.
Just because of the, position that I do like in bed does not mean I don't like penis. That does not mean I don't like, when I say I like everything that is queer, not queer, I like all the things. Like if you have two gay people, one of them likes to do this, one of them I would prefer a verse man and him to also have somebody who he can, or maybe we could do it together. Who knows? But I just don't, it's boring. That stuff is boring. A lot of people like to do a lot of vanilla things when it comes to sexual things. And I'm just not that girl. I'm like, let's try this. And if we like it, we like it. If we don't, we don't. If you like it, you like it. If I don't like it, go do it with somebody else. I don't feel like in a relationship that pressure to have somebody and say, this is my person. No, you're your own person. I don't own you. So I feel like when you get past like what you do in terms of monogamy, because that's a whole different subject for a whole different day. And sometimes monogamy can be super toxic. And I personally, at this stage in my life, monogamy is not something that I believe is healthy for me to invest all of myself into one person, especially not off bat. Like you got a six to 10 months of dating before I even consider that. And then it's also, why would I abandon all the people who I care about? Because I don't just, I mean, everybody likes a hookup now and then, but I'm past that stage. I'm like, I want someone who cares about me and I care about you. I don't want to have sex that's just effing. I want to feel like I'm making love to whoever I'm with. And that's just not like, if you
But you can do that to more than one person, is what you're saying. You can make love to more than one person in a circumstance and be satisfied.
So I'll say this, because we've been, taught that like we are supposed to do things a certain way, and there's this thing called ethical non-monogamy, right? And plenty of people are with it, but I feel like the only thing that makes it bad is if you're deceiving somebody. If you're lying, that's the thing that's unethical about not being monogamous. However, if you all have like the things that you enjoy to do and you do this, and I don't own you as a person. You can do whatever you want, just as long as everybody's protected and protect yourself. But I just feel like I lost my train of thought because I'm neurodivergent. So I forgot what else.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's a good place for us to take a break. Hold on. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
What up, though? The conversations stay lit on Dear Black Gay Men podcast. Hookup, entanglement, situation, relationship, everything from dushing to dating.
A top verb, but I am not a top noun. I am a guru at first dates.
It's new every Wednesday. Subscribe now.
Every episode, my guests and I answer questions that come in from the DMs. If you have a question or a topic for the show or want to be a guest, you can DM at Dear Black Gay Men on IG or Facebook, or you can email questions at dearblackgaymen.com. Kaleaf, I got a lot of questions about you. We only have time for 3, but I got a lot of questions about this conversation today. You ready?
Okay. Before you go into the questions, I would like to preface the questions with this. A lot of people tend to think just because they don't understand a person, that they don't understand themselves. A lot of the things I may have said may have been confusing because it's new to you. Not to you specifically, but to whoever's listening or watching. It may be new to you, but I know I live with me every day of the week. I go to sleep with me. I love to take showers with me. I love to date me and all of those things. However, just because it doesn't make sense to you doesn't mean I haven't figured it out and it doesn't work for me. So
I think you've made a lot of sense tonight. I think you've made a lot of sense.
I'm always like wondering, like, does this make sense to everybody? And a lot of people, specifically when it comes to being non-binary, have been like, oh, so you just confused. You just don't know. No, you're confused. I know me. You don't know me. So if you want to get to know me, that may be a privilege I may extend to you. But if you want to make assumptions and make an ass of yourself.
Oh, okay. That's a good segue into some of these questions.
Yes.
I have not seen them, but I know the general gist of what they are in. The first question says, Dear Jay and Kaleaf, how do I know if I'm not gender nonconforming? I can remember on BGC, Black Gay Chat, this when I was coming out, when we all said we were in between, but now I think I may identify with some of these newfangled terms, but I don't know. I feel like a man, but sometimes not so much. It's a boy. What's a boy girl to do? That's Chris from Atlanta. So how if someone thinks that they might be gender nonconforming on one level or another, what are the questions, or how can they assess that for themselves to start a journey?
I would say start off with education.
Okay.
Google is free.
Uh-oh. I can hear you.
Oh, there the camera goes. How you doing? Okay. I would say start off with just doing your own research, looking up the definitions, just because Google is free and we live in a world where we have infinite knowledge. But I can't tell you how to be non-binary. I can't tell you what it means for you in your journey. So if you feel like in your journey, that's something that you want to explore it. You only live once, okay? So that, but I would say don't hop on it because you think it's a trend, because, I mean, I would say for myself, it's very personal for me, in terms of, if I'm dating somebody, you have to get my pronouns right. That's just a thing. I can't, give you grace in that area, because I give everyone grace in that area. And because I need that safe space created for me, that already has to be there. I can't groom you in that. Just like you can't raise a man, I cannot raise you up in what it means to be non-binary. You have to come to the table with that already. Don't come to the table with your forks and no food.
Oh, okay. I love that, but that is a perfect segue into the next question that I read just now. It says, Dear Jay and Kaleaf, now I'm reading the question as it's written on the card, so forgive the pronouns. It's not typos, forgive the pronouns. But the question is, who is that fine boy coming up on the show, and how do I shoot my shot? How does one shoot their shot with you? Understanding they have to get your pronouns right. That is prerequisite. But how does somebody shoot their shot at you? What is something that someone could say or do that bubbles to the surface for you?
I am just really attracted to genuine, kind people.
Okay.
That's all I ask. Other than, of course, the pronouns. Come to the table and don't be an asshole. Or, okay, Geminis, I'm sorry, I'm a Taurus. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
Oh my God.
Other than that,
oh my God. I have a show coming up next month for Gemini season. I have dated 5 Geminis in my life. 5 Geminis, all born June 11th, 1979. Every single one of them, June 11th, 1979. I did not learn my lesson. And then I dated another Gemini, a May Gemini after that. It was a thing. So we're going to talk about Geminis next month. But thank you for that. Kindness goes a long way with you. This last one, I'm very curious about your perspective. Kaleaf, it says, Dear Jay and Kaleaf, what's the deal with all these new terms? Sometimes I get confused as to what is appropriate and what isn't. How people identify is still confusing to me. I saw your interview with Sampson. I did an interview with Sampson McCormick a couple weeks ago, and I think I'm feeling his perspective. Sometimes I feel like the pronoun talk just gets out of hand. What is your response to that kind of pushback that you get, Kaleaf? This is mind you, this is a gay person. He is a cisgender gay man. I know that much.
Give people the same amount of respect that you want. Not you, speaking directly.
Yes.
As
this is James from Atlanta.
Okay, hi James, how you doing? But as gay men, they pride themselves in certain things. A lot of them are they cling to their manhood. They're like, I got these nails, but bitch, I'm still a man. Like, just like you want people to respect you in that way, do the same for others. Or don't, because then you don't have to fool with me. I don't feel like walk around the world feeling like people owe me respect, or as long as I, know the people I have around me are of that, who want to, respect my pronouns, respect me as a person, and whatnot and what have you. I'm cool with it. But I will say this. I don't know how old that person is, but these things are not new. And I don't want to start sounding like a hotep, but these things are not new. They're just new to you because, and I'm starting to sound like a hotep, but it's just facts. African people have been non-binary since before we were kidnapped, okay? So we didn't really have a sense of gender in the same way that we do now with this, white people and Eurocentric and all of these things and whatnot and what have you. But it's not new. It's just for the first time you're hearing about it. So it's new information, but it's history behind it. It's thousands of years of history behind it. There was just like, you see in Egypt, you have your pharaohs, right? And the women pharaohs would shave off all their head, and they would, just some of them were just really masculine, quote unquote masculine. But yeah, gender expression isn't new. Gender identity isn't new. They've been calling it two-spirited in the, I believe Native American community and different things. It's just now you're hearing about it. So like, it's not like, oh, you know how it feels like every day they come up with something new when it comes to math. That's just not what it's giving. This has been here type thing. But I will also on record, I would like to say this. I am very sick and tired of people like the person you mentioned, Sampson, because I have spoken to Sampson directly and indirectly to educate Sampson about these things. I don't know if Hope is watching, but she has spoken to him. Plenty of trans people and Black trans women have poured into this man, and he continues to be a force against our community. He continues to say, oh, I just don't get it. No, it's willful ignorance at this point. So my thing is just like, but anyway, my thing is like, get right or get left. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of history as a coon, because that's what it's giving. That and Flame. Because I've talked to her as well. But people would never know that. Back when I was on the radio, I talked to Flame Monroe. And Girlfriend was upset that I did not want to endorse her willful ignorance.
Oh, no. No. What happened to his camera?
Okay.
So
I'll say this. I just got a call from my mom. Hey, Mom. I don't know if she's watching, but she probably just was like, don't be reading people. So I will say this. God. There are certain people within our community who are going to choose to stick to what they've known. They're going to choose to say, oh, you're a T word or you're a boy. And I give you permission to do all that. I just don't have to mess with you. So educate yourself. Like I said, Google is free. I have plenty of podcast episodes directed towards, education. So even when I'm like not dating, if somebody's interested in me and they don't know about the pronouns thing, first, they don't have that privilege until they're at that point where they can bring that to the table. But you can always go to my podcast. It's been out since 2020. The same episodes, they're still there. It's like, my pronouns are they and them. Season 3, episode 1. Get right or get left.
Got it. I think that's a good place to take a break. Let's take a break. Thank you so much for that, Kaleaf. We'll be right back. We talk tops.
This idea that tops are boring, trash.
And bottoms.
I don't know if that water is clear after 3 days.
And now we're tackling verse with my guests, Richard and Eve.
Have you ever just slipped and fell on the dick?
Yeah, probably. Not mean you can fuck.
Then answering questions from our subscribers live. It's going down Thursday. I want to thank Kaleaf for joining me tonight, but check this out. My father, my daddy, is Kenyan. He was born in a hut on the southern part of Kenya, and my mother is from Albany, Georgia, South Georgia. So I am quite literally an African American. The term, though, African American, means something very different to me than it would to other people. But if you slice it, however you slice it, I'm pretty sure we can all just agree that I'm Black. You got to put some respect on my Blackness. Gender, to gender nonconforming people, means something very different than it would to me as a cisgendered individual. But we're all still in the same queer culture, even though we have different context around gender. just like I have different context around my African Americanness. So, dear Black gay men, put some respect on them pronouns. That was our show. I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI the Gentleman on IG and Facebook. If this episode made you feel a little more dope, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, like this video, and share it with someone who needs a dopeness reminder. The podcast is new every Wednesday. You can stream it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Then new episodes are on YouTube every Thursday. So follow at Dear Black Gay Men on socials so you never miss a thing. I am Jay the Gentleman. This has been Dear Black Gay Men Live, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.